Julius, and this is my policy speech on why school uniforms are bad in Lamar County schools. What do you think about school uniforms? Do you think that school uniforms are beneficial to a kid's education? Do you think that school uniforms prevent kids from bullying? Should Lamar County change their school dress code policy? As a child, I have attended both schools with and without school uniforms. I've also researched a great amount on the negative and positive effects of school uniforms have on kids. From my personal experience and research, I would like to convince you that school uniforms should not be required in Lamar County schools. With dress code requirements like these, how does a kid get to express their personality? They aren't allowed to at all. I believe that everyone should be allowed to stand out and be different, and I believe that school uniforms in Lamar County schools restricts a child from standing out and forces them to all be the same and dress the same. Today, I would like to discuss to you 3 main points. The first point I would like to discuss is that school uniforms are bad because children in school uniforms still experience bullying. The second I would like to discuss is the cost and difference between school uniforms compared to traditional clothing. And the third point I would like to discuss is that school uniforms restrict the students' freedom of expression. Let's begin on why school uniforms are bad. School uniform policies make all the kids dress alike. Just because all the kids are dressed the same does not mean that bullying stops among the students. Kids are still going to get bullied regardless if they have on the same clothes or not. Some kids get brand name uniforms, and you can tell a difference between cheaper uniforms and more expensive brand name uniforms. Right here I have the school uniform for Lamar County, and these pants are they're khaki pants. They're actually some of the cheaper, less known brand name types, but then a lot of kids are going to have American Eagle pants and Hollister and all different types of brand name expensive pants, and the kids with these are going to get picked on. Here's a school uniform shirt from there. This one's actually chapped brim, and it's actually pretty expensive, and some kids that don't have it are going to feel sad about not having it. Here's also an annual from a school in Lamar County. It's Summerall Elementary School, and you can tell all the uniforms they have on and how they're all the same. Uniforms are not going to stop bullying. Kids are still going to have different backpacks, shoes, lunchbox, which makes it clear on which child has the nicer stuff and which child is more rich and which one's more poor. People may argue that uniforms help kids not to be able to tell when a kid does not have as nice as clothes as other kid might have, but that is not true. A lot of kids can tell a difference between expensive brand name clothes and not expensive brand name clothes, which was still cause them to bully a kid. The magazine Our Family World states, here's the thing to consider when trying to figure out if uniforms reduce school bullying. Is every child also wearing the same shoes, or are they wearing the same socks? Do they all have the same backpacks, the same lunch boxes, the same folders, pencils, erasers? Do all the kids look the same? Do they all have the same color hair? Are they all the same height, same weight? Not every kid is going to have the same jewelry, shoes, backpacks, etc. Therefore, the kids in Lamar County will also get bullied about not having brand name essentials. I will now explain the cost differences between school uniforms and traditional clothing. The article school uniforms is expensive. Why do we need it? States school uniforms is expensive and just adds pressure to a parent's already tight budget. Why are parents having to buy costly uniforms when most kids already have perfectly clothes? Students in Lamar County still get picked on regardless of the uniform, so why can't they just wear their own clothes from home instead of having to go out and spend money? Teachers assume that everyone wears the same thing. No one can make fun of each other for what they wear. That That may be true in some cases, but your clothes are not who you are. Uniforms can hide your personality. Being bullied is just as likely when you are in uniforms and when you aren't. Uniforms don't make everyone the same, they just make everyone look the same. Now let's talk about how school uniforms restrict the students' freedom of expression. The Article Phi Delta Kappa states the First Amendment comes into play in determining how far a school district can go in regulation to what school the students wear. School districts enforcing school uniforms violates the students' right to freedom of speech. The article Know Your Rights states, people often express who they are and what they believe by what they wear. Because students maintain certain constitutional rights to freedom of expression when they are in public school, their decision about their appearance are to some extent protected as well. Students in Lamar County School districts want the right to express their personality through their clothing. Students who are in a district with strict uniform policies lose their ability to express their individuality through fashion and dressing. In America, we have the right of freedom of speech, and that right is one thing that makes this country great. Since everyone living in America has the right of freedom of speech, why can't all the students have the same rights? In conclusion, I would like to make a few more statements. Students in Lamar County should not have to go out and buy costly uniforms. School uniforms do not stop bullying. School uniforms in Lamar County are unconstitutional. School uniforms are also bad because children in school uniforms still experience bullying. We have also discussed the cost differences between school uniforms and traditional clothing. We also cover that school uniforms restricts the students' freedom of expression. By fighting against these school uniforms, we can stop the schools from forcing students to wear the same uniform. And my sources are Advantages and Disadvantages of a School Uniform, OurFamilyWorld.com, and their article, School Uniforms and Bullying Statistics You Need to Know. School uniforms don't stop bullying, and school uniforms, dress codes, and freedom of expression. What's the balance? And this has been my speech. Thank y'all for your time.
Good job.